everyone. We are, over the last couple of months, we have been working on the Soil Health Producer of the Year. We will continue this for 2024. We are highlighting our 2023 Producer of the Year this year. We wanted to let you know that applications are now open for 2024. Candidates must farm in Washington and derive the majority of their income from agricultural production. Candidates also should have a track record of using on-farm conservation and soil health practices. They can be individuals, couples, or families in farming partnerships. And we're also asking that they demonstrate a commitment and leadership within the community to soil health. As part of this, the winners will receive a Farmer Spotlight video and article in the quarterly WaSHI newsletter, $100 gift cards, a free soil sample analysis, a WaSHI placard, and also become part of our Soil Health Ambassadors program. Currently, applications are open. We're making some changes for 2024. So those will be due July 1st, and you can find, there's a QR code there, or you can go to the Washington Soil Health Initiative website and find the application that's there. You can self-nominate. We're happy for that. You can also nominate someone who you think really exemplifies this. Some of the changes we're making this year is that we're going to do an anonymous ranking system, which we didn't do this last year, and we think that'll be really good. We're also going to do some site visits to our top 3 candidates. And then as part of that, we'll do an infield tour day that anyone can come join, and we'll do that in 2025. So we'll announce the winner of that at SoilCon 2025. Now I'd like to introduce, now I'd like to introduce our Soil Health Producer of the Year, Clay and Rachel Hutchins of the Hutchins Family Farm. They were nominated by Anisha Dew. Clay and Rachel are 4th generation dryland farmers, farming winter wheat, spring barley, spring canola, garbanzos, dry peas, and yellow mustard. We were incredibly impressed with their passion for farming and conservation. Clay and Rachel are very thoughtful and intentional in the way they farm and manage for soil health. And they do this through the diversity of the crops they grow and managing residue in a way that continues to improve their land. As you'll see in the video that we're going to play, Clay is also very passionate about seeing agriculture thrive into the future. One of the things we really want to highlight through this award is not only commitment to soil health practices, but also soil health leadership within a farming community. We believe that Clay exemplifies leadership of soil conservation. Clay has served on the Columbia Conservation District Board for over 20 years. He's on the Northwest Grain Growers Co-op Board, the Vice President of the Columbia County Association for Wheat Growers, and he also serves as a volunteer fire district number 3 in Columbia County. And he's a high school volunteer assistant basketball coach. So he does a lot. And we were just really impressed with that. We appreciate Clay and Rachel's time in participating in this process. We had some great conversation when we went out to record the video. And we are so thankful to the Columbia Conservation District for nominating these exceptional farmers. So please help me congratulate Clay and Rachel on becoming our first winners of the Soil Health Producer of the Year.
I want to be sure I don't go backwards. That's the first thing. I want to be sure we keep going forwards. And to me, going forward is continue to keep the soil in place, to continue to keep it covered, to continue with crop rotation. My name is Clay Hutchins. I farm in Columbia County around the town of Dayton, Washington. I farm with my wife and some extended family. I'm a fourth generation farmer. My great-grandfather started it here in the county, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to try to carry on the legacy that he started, and my grandfather and my father, and hopefully a future generation will carry on someday as well. We're completely rain-fed agriculture, no irrigation, and we farm from elevations of from 1,400 feet up to 3,500 feet above sea level. What's gotten me interested and involved in soil health, I think, starts with the previous generations that were operating the farm. Soil health, in my mind, begins with soil conservation, keeping the soil in place where it belongs. We've farmed some steep hillsides, up to 55%, and water erosion can be a real problem in that type of topography. So it starts with soil conservation, but continuing throughout that journey, once we got into direct seeding a little bit deeper, watching the soil change by adding the previous year's crop residue to the soil, keeping the soil covered with crop residue acting as an armor for the soil, both protects it from a conservation standpoint from eroding, but it also provides a food system and a fuel system for the environment that is the soil life. The soil biology takes energy to keep everything cycling through, and the more crop residue that we can put into it feeds the system, and we've seen the biological activity increase. A good example of that is earthworms. The amount of tillage that those earthworms do, the benefits that they provide are much better, in my opinion, than anything mechanically that we could do, because they're leaving biological material behind as they help cycle the nutrients, and there's so much that we don't understand that goes on in the soil. I'd like to say soil health is really easy to quantify, but it's not. You can't really define it, but you know it when you start to see it. And when I walk across our fields, when I run the soil through my fingers, when I stick a shovel into the soil and compare it to some fields that maybe are in a different type of system, you can see changes are going on within the soil. The way that the soil crumbles in your fingers, the way that the tilth is, the color, the way that it smells. When you see the soil changing, you understand that some good things are going on. I've been part of the Columbia Conservation District Board of Supervisors for a little bit north of 20 years now. And I've learned a lot from that board, partly because I was on it with other farmers that were more experienced than me. So some of the most valuable information being on the board was gained in some of our side conversations after the meeting about, hey, what are you doing on your farm? You know, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So there's a really big networking piece to being involved in community organizations, and the Conservation District Board is one specifically geared towards farming and agriculture. I think that everybody being involved in some sort of decisions and impact others, I think that's a really important place for people to be. It makes them think about something in front of their face every day. It makes them think about a broader picture, a broader perspective, and that's okay, because if you're exposed to those broader perspectives, should never be taken for granted. If I were to give someone some advice as they start to look at the idea of soil health, I think the first thing I'd tell them is to try to find neighboring farmers around you that are doing some things that you guys can put your heads together and figure out what's working in your farm. Share some ideas. Fits in your current farming system to figure out, maybe start small, figure out what works in your region. Don't try to copy something from somebody in a completely different area. I just like to see more and more conservation farming, more and more farming that encourages soil health, rather than just thinking about it as a medium with which to grow a crop, thinking about the soil by everybody as a living, active being that is providing healthy crops to help feed the world. Farming has lots of challenges, but that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it exciting as well, is always having something to try to figure out. Can it be frustrating? Of course it can be. but trying to do something better than we've done it before is, I think, what keeps me pushing forward, because it keeps it fresh, it keeps it new, it keeps it interesting.
Congratulations to Clay and Rachel. And thank you to all of you for joining SoilCon this year. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, the Washington State Conservation Commission and the USDA NRCS, for allowing this great event to happen. We apologize for some of the technical difficulties at the beginning, but don't worry, all presentations from today have been recorded and you will receive an email with the link shortly. Just like last year, SoilCon organizers have been working hard behind the scenes to make this event possible, so thank you to all of our organizers and the production team. They've also been working hard to create a resource roundup so that you can find all the key resources mentioned today and key points from each talk in the roundup. You can find the link in the chat or visit wasoilhealth.org.